Since the end of the Second World War, conspiracy theorists have claimed Adolf Hitler actually fled to Argentina to live the rest of his life in exile with his wife Eva Braun. Though mainstream historians have never taken these claims seriously, there can be no doubt that scores of high-ranking Nazi officials and lesser-known Axis war criminals found refuge in South America in the aftermath of the war. I'm Griffin Johnson, the Armchair Historian, and today we're going to examine why some nations in South America became havens for former Nazi officials, and look at the post-war lives of some of the most high-profile names among them. If you like our content and wish to get more involved, be sure to check out the Armchair Historian Patreon page. Patrons get exclusive access to a variety of benefits and help to keep the channel going. Special thanks to the sponsor of today's video, Raid Shadow Legends. Summon and choose from hundreds of unique champions, master countless tactics, and enjoy intense PvP fights with millions of players from all around the world. Three of my top favorite things about Raid are the high level of customization available for your teams, from weapon upgrades to hero matching, the turn-based battle system which allows you to come up with multiple strategies to defeat your enemies, and the amazing attention to detail and expressive animations and graphics. This month, Raid is adding some new characters from the epic limited series Raid Call of the Arbiter, including the mighty orc warlord Artak. Just log into Raid for 7 days between now and July 24th and get Artak for free. If you're a new player and you use my link in the description or scan my QR code to sign up, you'll receive insane bonuses like Epic Champion Talia from the Sacred Order faction and other useful items. So be sure to sign up for Raid today. The end of the war in Europe prompted a surge in German emigration. One of the main factors behind this phenomenon was the fear of retribution and punishment that many Germans felt for their role in the Nazi regime. High-profile fugitives, in particular, stood little chance to remain hidden in Europe as countries banded together to hunt down surviving war criminals. Many South American nations, however, had a history of welcoming German immigrants and held few grudges against them. The authoritarian regimes ruling over some of these nations were sympathetic to Nazi ideology, and were more than willing to provide refuge to former Nazi officials and supporters. Moreover, German expertise in fields like administration, the military, construction, and corporate firms could be put to good use at a time when nations across the continent were experiencing rapid economic growth and industrialization. This made immigration to South America an enticing option for German citizens struggling to survive in the post-war devastation of their home country. Official immigration was often not an option for those attempting to avoid arrest, with many enlisting the help of the so-called Ratlines. The Ratlines were a system of escape networks established by various organizations and individuals who sympathized with the Nazi cause. Controversially, these networks also included members of both the British and American intelligence agencies who were eager to recruit ex-SS intelligence agents and other former Nazi officials with anti-communist expertise in the Cold War against the Soviet Union. Starting in 1947, the US Counterintelligence Corps recruited former SS members and helped them escape Europe through Italy. Crucial in this endeavor was the help of sympathetic clergymen within the Catholic Church, who opened up monasteries as safe havens and helped falsify travel documents for fleeing Nazis. Other organizations, run by various neo-fascist and nationalist groups, such as the Odessa network, similarly helped to facilitate the escape of war criminals. These endeavors were costly and required not only the availability of shelter and food for the escapees, but also necessitated the creation of fake documents, the bribing of officials, and the arrangement of overseas travel. In order to finance these operations, a variety of valuable items were utilized, ranging from gold bars and diamonds to artwork and rare books that had been stolen from museums and private collections across Europe. Many of these resources were stored at churches and monasteries along the escape routes in Italy, Austria, Germany, and Spain. rumors of Nazi officials fleeing to South America spread almost as soon as the war ended. The most famous among these theories was propagated by Joseph Stalin himself, who, for some time, believed that Hitler managed to escape to Argentina through Spain. However, with the opening up of former Soviet archives and with advances in forensic evidence, mainstream historians agree that such theories of his escape are unlikely to be true. However, other high-ranking Nazi officials, such as Adolf Eichmann, Josef Mengele, and Klaus Barbie, did manage to escape abroad. Eichmann, one of the architects of the Holocaust, arranged to flee to Argentina under the false identity of Ricardo Klement, where he worked in a Mercedes-Benz factory. Protected by local Nazi sympathizers in the German community, as well as the Catholic Church, Eichmann lived a relatively normal life until he was finally captured in 1960 by Israeli agents. He was brought to stand trial in Israel, where he was found guilty of crimes against humanity and executed. Josef Mengele, the feared SS physician who conducted sadistic medical experiments on prisoners at Auschwitz concentration camp, similarly absconded to Argentina under the name of Helmut Greger, where he continued to work in an unlicensed medical practice. During the following decade, Mengele moved twice across South America to evade capture, and finally died in 1979 in Brazil after having suffered a stroke while swimming in the ocean. Another infamous fugitive was Klaus Barbie, a high-ranking Gestapo officer known as the Butcher of Lyon. He had gained infamy for his role in torturing and deporting French resistance fighters and Jews during the war. After initially scraping a living on the black market in Germany, Barbie was recruited by the US Army Counterintelligence Corps before he escaped to Argentina in 1951. The Bolivian government eventually hired him as a security advisor until he was finally extradited to France in 1983, where he was convicted of war crimes and died in prison in 1991. Of all South American countries, it was Argentina, and its president Juan Perón in particular, which actively sought to recruit German fugitives through his intelligence agency, the SIDE. The authoritarian Perón sympathized with fascist ideology and wanted to utilize the valuable skills of former Nazi officials for Argentina's industrial and technological development. Before the war, in neighboring Brazil, President Getúlio Vargas similarly wished to utilize the German expertise in technology to modernize his country's economy and infrastructure. However, after the war, Vargas's attitude toward German immigrants changed dramatically, in part due to Brazil's military involvement in the war on the side of the Allies. Those suspected of being war criminals or of merely being sympathetic to Axis powers were deported from the country. Other countries like Chile and Paraguay also endorsed the immigration of skilled German workers, either to help modernize their country in the case of the former, or because of ideological sympathies, as was the case for the latter. Regardless of the reasons for German immigration to South America, there can be no doubt that the influx of skilled German labor had a significant influence on the development of their host nations. Advanced technological knowledge and skills played a major part in industrial development and in the modernization of South American economies. In science, German-run endeavors like the Max Planck Institute in Brazil promoted scientific research, and Germans across the continent made significant contributions to fields such as medicine, chemistry, and physics. Culturally, too, German immigrants have had a lasting impact on their host nations' societies. German music, food, and language have been integrated to varying degrees in countries such as Argentina, Brazil, and Chile. Having said that, not everything is beer and pretzels. Conflicts have arisen in the past between German immigrants and the local population due to suspicions of Nazi sympathies, and there remains an ongoing debate about whether South American countries have sufficiently acknowledged their role in harboring known war criminals. As a result, some Germans who had been living in South America were extradited to stand trial in Europe decades after the end of the war. Additionally, some of these countries have since established memorials and museums dedicated to victims of Nazi atrocities. Nevertheless, the specter of Nazi association continues to haunt South America to this day, and the legacy of German immigration will continue to impact the continent for years to come. Thanks again to Raid Shadow Legends. Use my link in the description or scan my QR code to sign up today and get insane bonuses for new players and an epic champion.